Fish out of water story? Yes. Feminist prototype literature? Yes. Observational poetry? Absolutely. Thinly veiled eroticism? Guys, I think so. Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here for another poetry discussion, which will appear in the poetry discussion playlist here on the channel. A playlist now approaching 600 videos strong. We have today a poem from Elizabeth Bishop known as Filling Station, and it reads as such. By the way, before we get into that, I want to comment on this. There is audio online of Elizabeth Bishop reading this poem, and this is one of the greatest observations that I ever laid claim to in the world of literature / writing is this. Most artists' favorite piece of their own, unheralded. No one else likes it. Most pieces from an artist that are great, they don't like. There is an audio of Elizabeth Bishop, reading this poem. She seems completely out of tune with the poem. She says, basically, this needs to be rewritten. She says her tone and tonality while reading it are kind of cold and disaffected. She seems not very impressed with this poem. I am completely taken aback by this poem, and for the reasons we're going to get into. But the poem itself reads as such. Oh, but it's dirty. This little filling station, oil-soaked, oil-permeated, to a disturbing overall black translucency. Be careful with that match. Father wears a dirty, oil-soaked monkey suit that cuts him under the arms, and several quick and saucy and greasy sons assist him. It's a family filling station, all quite thoroughly dirty. Do they live in the station? It has a cement porch behind the pumps. On it, a set of crushed and grease-impregnated wickerwork. On the wicker sofa, a dirty dog, quite comfy. Some comic books provide the only note of color, of certain color. They lie upon a big, dim doily, draping a tabouret part of the set beside a big hirsute begonia. Why the extraneous plant? Why the tabouret? Why, oh why, the doily? Embroidered in daisy stitch with marguerites, I think, and heavy with gray crochet. Somebody embroidered the doily. Somebody waters the plant or oils it, maybe. Somebody arranges the rows of cans so that they softly say, "Eso, so," to high-strung automobiles. Somebody loves us all. The end here, somebody loves us all, in the reading given by Bishop got a bit of a punchline type laugh. But I think as opposed to a punchline like you would find at the end of a joke, that line, somebody loves us all, is revelatory in this poem. I mentioned at the onset, there is in this poem perhaps eroticism. Now, I know, I understand how this sounds anytime it is brought up. I understand that especially a poem that is probably 99.9% of the time it is mentioned in a class, it is taught with a feminist lens to view through. But in fairness, I have a literature degree. Everything that is taught today is taught with a feminist lens put over it. But I want to take, so I don't think by the actual practice of feminist interpretation, the idea of eroticism would be taken out of this. I think it is simply in the practice of feminist interpretation as it is practiced in university, at least when I had my degree. We'll start at the beginning. Oh, but it is dirty. This little filling station, oil soaked, oil permeated to a disturbing overall black translucency. Be careful with that match. We have to, I think, here automatically recognize that the observations in this poem are from an outsider. Oh, but it is dirty is an exclamation. Be careful with that match is an exclamation. Everything in the middle of that stanza is very ho-hum. It's just the reality. So the first exclamation comes as an observation from without. Then we get the list of observations and another exclamation. Whoever it is that is observing in a very from outside context and is alarmed or off-put or aroused. Not necessarily in the sexual sense, but aroused, perked up. Aroused, set off. Father, so we are pointing at father. That means that our observer is not father. That means that our observer is someone else. Father wears a dirty, oil-soaked monkey suit, calling into question primal drives that cuts him under the arms and several quick and saucy and greasy sons. Oh, so he's virile. Father is virile. Several sons assist him. It's a family filling station. Not only is father virile, he is also competent. He owns the world in which this family is operating. And quite thoroughly dirty. Dirty, not in a play sense, but in a work sense. So we have several things pointing to a basic but powerful type of masculinity right here in this stanza. Father, he has children, at least a child. Sons, pointing to the fact that there are many, or at least more than one. It is a family filling station, pointing to the fact that father is in control of the world of the tribe. All quite thoroughly dirty. So he's competent. So are his sons. He has passed down through the lineage those abilities. Do they live in the station? It has a cement porch behind the pumps, and on it a set of crushed and grease, what? Impregnated wickerwork. On the wicker sofa, a dirty dog, quite comfy. Father even provides excess towards accessories, like a dog. But this word here, impregnated, there's no way around that. That is a word that leads you to think of the sexual act. You only get pregnant, well, technically you can get pregnant several ways, but the base nature of things, you only get pregnant one way. It's through the sexual act. Wicker work on the wicker sofa. So we have an empty sofa ready for someone to sit. Some comic books provide the only note of color, of certain color. They lie upon a big, dim doily. We are observing things which are classically feminine. Draping a taboret, part of the set, beside a big hirsute begonia. So we are in the world of the masculine. We are hereby observing something of the world of the feminine. The observer is outside, is of the without, observing those things to which she identifies. She is finding some bit of herself in this world of the masculine. Starting, by the way, with color. They say that men see motion better. So something is moving, a man notices it before a woman. Women, their eyes are more closely attuned to observation of color as opposed to motion. This is why, for example, men watch sports on television more than women do. Part of this is the movement involved in the sport, so for football, back and forth across the screen. That is, to men's eyes, something akin to masturbation. In the same way that women more often watch, for example, television shows about fashion. More of that is going to be about the colors involved in the clothing. That, for women's eyes, for the eye-brain connection in women, is more closely akin to masturbation. Not literally, but I think you see what I'm saying. Why the extraneous plant? Now we're questioning. Why the taboret? Why the doily? Embroidered in daisy stitch with marguerites, I think, and a heavy gray crochet. Now here's what sells it for me. And this is going to get a bit esoteric, so just stick with me. Somebody embroidered the doily. Now we are thinking about the work that went in to the feminine part of this masculine world. That feminine part is so out of place, is so missing. But there was work, there was effort put into that. Somebody waters the plant, or oils it maybe. Somebody arranges the rows of cans so that they say, look at this line. Eso, so, so. Eso, so, so, so. Does that or does that not sound at least a little bit like sexual exaltation? Like moaning in the middle of sex. Then, so that they softly say. Why do they softly say this? So that they softly whisper into the ears. Eso, so, so. To high-strung automobiles. Haven't you ever heard someone say, XYZ is so high-strung, she just needs to get laid. XYZ is so high-strung, he just needs to get laid. You've heard that. You know that expression. Probably you have experience with this, saying it, or being on the receiving end of this in your own life. We're all human. We're all human. Somebody loves us all. Maybe this is much ado about nothing. Maybe this is simply one person looking too much into the poem. Perhaps this is Elizabeth Bishop's subconscious crying out. Or maybe this is a poem so expertly written as to be victim to any type of interpretation that comes to it, as all art could be. The higher art, more so than others. That's all I have time for with this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. There is poetry to be found every Monday, and I hope to have you back for the next one.